and we'll go for it. Isaac, Aaron, welcome back to the pod, man. It's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored and appreciative of being invited back. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Anytime,
We're
man.
stoked to have you back as a returning guest. It's been a minute, but how's life been going, man? Florida Gulf Coast University zone. I take it you're probably getting close to the end of the semester now. Things going well?
Yeah, everything's going well. I can't complain. Down my way. Yeah, everything's going well. So obviously, the Red Sox are right by here for spring training, so I've been
Nice.
over there a few times, and
Cool.
yeah, no, overall, I can't complain. It's been a really good time here. Semester's coming to a close soon, and summer coming up. So yeah, I'm really just always excited for what's ahead, and yeah, looking forward to it.
There you go,
Absolutely.
man. And you're studying journalism, correct?
I am, yes.
How's that going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, obviously I have to get like a lot of the boring stuff out of the way
Mm-hmm.
first. But overall, like math and the stuff that but overall, yeah, I'm excited for what's to come with that major.
There you go, man. Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like it's a good choice. It fits with what you're doing. It fits with where you want to be. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. That is in essence what all us content creators are to a certain degree.
Right.
We're journalism. Where I mean, some of us are just shooting the breeze behind a microphone, but it's good. It's good knowledge. It's a wise decision on your part.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely something that I think can really help me and you know push my myself forward.
Mhm. For sure, man. So, we have you on here because you are a diehard Red Sox fan, and they are a team.
Absolutely.
They are, they're a notable team. They're not a scrappy team by any stretch. I mean, they made it pretty well last year, all the way to the ALCS when no one gave them credit. They went to the wild card and an epic one game do or die against the Yankees, blowing up Garrett Cole. And it was oh so glorious to watch. And they couldn't quite make it to the World Series thanks to my Astros. But uh, it's another year this year. So I mean, before we get into the roster preview, what are your thoughts on how they did over the offseason?
I I would give it honestly an A overall. I
Ooh,
think
man.
I really do. Maybe an A minus because the only thing to me that's really glaring is the bullpen. We'll get to that in a little bit when we really go over the roster. But um, overall, I'd say we did a pretty good job. The story was, signing was definitely the cherry on top. That was definitely without that, I don't really know how our off season would have looked. I think like you definitely have some interesting signings like the Matt Strom one. I like that a
Mhm.
lot. I even like the Jake Diekman one, even though he's been really bad this spring. I still think that was a good move. Um, but overall, I think the Trevor Story signing really pushed their offseason letter grade
Oh yeah.
up a little bit for sure. And obviously, we all know how good Trevor Story is, what he can do, what he's capable of, and I'm really excited to have him in Boston.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna give him crap because they think the Coors effect is overblown,
Yeah,
but I will say it's really not accurate. I mean, case in point, you look at people like Nolan Arenado, you look at other guys who have come out of Colorado, and it's not like they had a huge handicap when they
no,
were over
exactly, yeah.
there. So
Hmm.
I mean, they're still good ball players. So I think Trevor's story is going to fit very well in Boston, and yeah, he's going to mash
Yeah,
over
I
there.
agree. I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's just go ahead and dive into this. We'll take it component by component, and we're going to start off with the rotation because they're the first guys with the ball. It's You can argue a team is only as good as their pitching, and so we'll work our way to the lineup where we could talk about story among others later on. But let's start with the rotation. Isaac, give us your projected starting five and some little tidbits about each of them.
So we'll start with Nathan Eovaldi. He obviously just before anything, Chris Sale obviously is going to be out until probably about mid-May.
Bummer.
It's a big bummer. Obviously, you would like to have a guy like him, and you need anything you can get because the rotation isn't that strong, but it's still as good. It's still it's got some. It's a little bit of a toss up, and obviously I'll get into that as I start explaining each guy. But no Chris Sale for now. So to start off the season, Nathan Eovaldi start off. Eovaldi, I really don't have much anything negative to say on that guy. I mean, he really came out last year and showed that he is one of the best in the league. Really, he's a workhorse. He goes out there and just obviously throws so hard and he just gets the job done. And he could be an ace in a lot of rotations in baseball. So I think he even showed it in the playoffs. He was really good again. Like he wasn't 18. He showed up again in the 2021 playoffs. So I'm really excited to see what happens with him. See if he can even impress even more this year. So that'll be exciting. I really don't have many negative expectations from Eovaldi. I mean, you never know. Again, he's not Chris Sale. He doesn't have that track record, so you don't know exactly quite what you're going to get out of a full season. But at the same time, he should be pretty good. So next up, we do have Nick Pivetta. And Pivetta is the definition of you don't know what you're going to get. He's just total, he's a toss-up. He's like a box of chocolates. You never know. He's going to go out there and he can either give up a ton of runs or I could see him throwing an absolute gem. And I think that's going to kind of be him all year. And that's why I kind of think this rotation is filled with a lot of those kind of guys. Tanner Houck, I like him a lot. He's another guy who's probably right in the middle of this rotation. He's obviously nasty, great slider, throws fairly hard, and I think he's going to be very good. And if he isn't, I think he's a little bit of a toss-up, but at the same time, I think he's more likely to be good. So you have Eovaldi, and then I think Houck. Pavetta's probably 3.
Okay.
This is in terms of talent. I never really look at the 1, 2, 3, 4 because at the end of the day, it's all going to be out of order anyway. Because throughout the whole course of the season, you're going to have the ace pitching in the middle. I don't know. It just depends. But I have Eovaldi, Houck, Pivetta, and then you have a few other guys. Michael Wacha, Rich Hill. Those are obviously 2 guys who are total toss-ups. Rich Hill didn't have a good outing recently. We really, this bullpen, I mean, the rotation is really a bunch of guys who are kind of trying to prove it themselves. And I think that could be either a very good thing or a very bad thing because either a bunch of guys who are very motivated and they want to show the world that they are good, or it's a bunch of guys that they're going to go out there and really not do well. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I like Michael Wacha a lot. I think he's going to be an innings eater. My prediction is that he'll be a solid, high 3 ERA guy, maybe even lead the team in innings. I mean, that would be amazing. If he could throw over 200 innings, high 3 ERA, I mean, that would be beyond incredible that would be incredible. That'd be amazing. So Eovaldi, Houck, Pivetta, Hill, and Wacha. Hill, can't believe that guy's still doing it. He's, 41 years old, and he's out there just throwing these, just spinning these curveballs, and it's crazy. But he's throwing 85, but he's doing it. He's getting it done. Enough to get millions of dollars from the Red Sox, and shout out to him. I mean, again, he's another toss-up though, and that's why it's a little okay, you don't really know. I could see him either getting DFA'd by the midseason, or he could be really good and effective. So him and Pivetta are probably the two that I'm most worried about, I would say. And in that rotation, Rich Hill, Nick Pivetta, and I feel like that's not a hot take or anything. It's just, I think they're just the two biggest toss ups. Hill is just, obviously he's 41, but also he's struggled a bit this spring a little bit, and he doesn't throw nearly as hard anymore as he used to. Now that doesn't mean he's not going to be good. He hasn't thrown hard in a long time, but you still don't know. And then you got Pavetta, who I think he's just that's how he's been the whole time he's been on Boston, really his whole career. You never know what you're going to get from him. So he can either be really effective or, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, there you go. You look at their numbers. Nathan Eovaldi last year had a 1.26 ERA plus. Tanner Houck had a 1.35 ERA plus. So those are two. That's your 1-2 punch right there. They're well above average. And then you start to get into average territory. Pivetta had a 1.04 ERA plus, so you're right around average. Waka last year had a 78 ERA plus, which is a tad bit below average. And then Rich Hill is Rich Hill. He's 41 years old, and so
Right.
after that 1-2 punch, you got kind of a little steep drop off there. Golly, you look at his baseball reference, but Rich Hill, and it's just insane. Although he is a 1.03 ERA plus, so overall, you got above average, just averaging around average, but it's just one component of it. It's not the end of the world. We've seen worse. Travis and we've been covering every single team, and we're coming towards the end. The AL East is the last division that we've had, and we've seen rotations with worse. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you look at Pavetta, he's 28 years old. You look at Houck, he's 25. And for all we know, they can just magically flip a switch and decide to enter into their prime. So it's
Right.
it's what you don't know what's going to happen.
You never know. You never
yeah.
know.
Overall, what grade would you give their rotation?
A C plus.
Oh, wow.
And that's without Sale. So you add Sale in, I'd say a solid B minus, B. I'd say a solid B with Chris Sale without
All
the start
right.
of the year for the first month and a half. Hopefully that's all it is. C plus.
Yes, it's just like last year. Last year, it was come back, Chris Sale, get in, and he eventually did. And now that wait will not be as long for Chris Sale.
Exactly.
So talk to us now about the relievers here, because I'm looking at the list here of these guys, and this very much seems like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of bullpen here. So I mean, break it down for us here, because I mean, some of these numbers make it very interesting here.
What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at Fangraphs here personally.
Fangraphs, okay, because the Twitter account, shout out to him, Boston Strong. He, great Twitter account for Red Sox fans. He basically, I'm pretty sure the Red Sox have their 15 guys for the pitching staff. So Valdi, Pivetta, Houck, Walker, Hill, and then for the bullpen, here we go. So Matt Barnes, I'm going to go through the list of who's listed here, because it's probably going to who's make the bullpen. Matt Barnes, I don't trust him. I love the guy. He's great. Love what he's done for us. And I hope he goes out and shoves it, but all year. But at the same time, he's just he fizzles out by the end of the year. Ever since the sticky stuff ban, he hasn't been the same. And even Alex Cora admitted he's a little concerned because of the velocity down. So I hope by the end of by the end of the year, I can be like, wow, I was wrong. He's throwing 100 and he's, just doing really well. But I think overall, I'm a little worried about him. So we'll see what happens. The velocity's down. He just doesn't seem the same. Ryan Brazier, the definition of a guy. Listen, I like Ryan Brazier, but I feel like he really only has a job because of what he did in 2018. for some reason they just keep sticking him around. You know, he could do good at times, but he's way too inconsistent, and he's been awful this spring. I just don't think he's a guy we can trust at all. I mean, I don't trust him at all in any circumstance and against any team in any big moment. Um, the only time I really ever trusted him was 2018. That was 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, the postseason. So those are two guys right off the bat I don't trust. Cutter Crawford, I trust him. I like him. Well, I wouldn't say I trust him because we haven't really seen much of him yet. Former FGCU alum, so shout out to him, Cutter Crawford. So he obviously made his debut last year. He's a starter, but he might be in the bullpen. I think he'd be a really interesting look out of the bullpen. I could see him as like the Garrett Whitlock of the 2022 Red Sox. He comes out and just does really well throughout the year and surprises a lot of people. And I could see, comes out of nowhere like Whitlock did. So I could see that happening. Austin Davis, I'm going to go through. So here are some of the lefties. Austin Davis, Jake Diekman, and Matt Strahm. Diekman has just not been good this spring. So Matt Strahm has been very good. He could potentially even be the closer. I like Austin Davis. He's been very solid ever since he's been traded to Boston last summer. So those are two lefties I like. Again, I really like the Diekman signing. I just don't think, maybe he doesn't have it anymore. I hope he does, but I think they've definitely got a ton of lefties. They sent down Darwinson Hernandez, who was another lefty that they have out of the bullpen. They sent him down. They have a ton of options left-handed, for the bullpen. So I think they're pretty good there, especially with Strahm. I like him a lot. He's shown really good stuff this spring, so I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him. I could see him being like the Whitlock kind of.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a Rangers fan, how do you feel about losing Martin Perez?
I don't really think much about it. I mean, I like the guy. He seemed cool, and he was very fun to when he was good. But unfortunately, that wasn't that often. So we'll see what happens. But he was supposed to be a really decent, very decent starter for us, and he started out that way last year, and he just wasn't that great.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the unfortunate story of the first stint that he had with the Rangers. He came into the Rangers about 10 years ago, I believe, in 2012 or 2011, and was really good to start. But then, by like those final couple of years or so, he wasn't really reliable. So apparently our front office is hoping that he adds a little bit something more to help carry our rotation along a bit, because we're certainly going to need it to help out to go with that offense that we got this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope he does well. I really do. I hope the Rangers do well. So moving on from the lefties, Sawamura, Hirokazu Sawamura. He's someone who I could either see. I really want him. I could see him being like Koji. You guys know Koji, right? Uehara?
Name sounds vaguely.
Guess you guys don't. Wow, it's just weird because I'm such a big Red Sox nut. I know, he's like the hero for me. But he was the closer in 2013, Japanese closer. He was lights out, and he's been a part of this organization ever since. He actually is always at spring training. He's actually friends with Sawamura. And he's so he's worked with him. So I think Sawamura basically could be like even a better version of Koji, because Koji never threw hard. He threw like 88, and he struck everyone out. Sawamura throws like 95 on the same pitch, like a splitter, 95, and then he throws 98 on the 4-seam, 2-seam, whatever. So
dang.
Sawamura is a toss-up for me. I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. I hope he does really well. I really like him, but we'll see what happens there. The potential is definitely there. The stuff is there. Just can he do it? We'll see. Valdez, Whitlock, Robles. Whitlock, I'll start with him. He's the most reliable guy in the bullpen. He's really the only really reliable guy in the bullpen. You can put him in any situation, and I'm way more comfortable with him than anyone else I've talked about named so far. So that's that. I think he's amazing. He's shown what he could do last year. Sure, he can drop off a little bit this year. We'll see what happens. But love Whitlock. I think he'll be really reliable again. Valdez and Robles. I like Valdez a lot. He struggled a lot last year, especially in the second half of his outings. But he has potential. He's a nasty changeup. He doesn't throw too hard, but he has a really good changeup. Can throw guys off, and I like that. He's very good when he's on, and hopefully he'll be on. And he's another guy. He's another toss-up. He could either have an 8 ERA or he literally could have like a under 2. You just don't know. He could be a really, really solid. Maybe he could be the closer or not. Maybe he'll be off a team by mid-April. So I don't know. And then Hansel Robles, I like him. That guy throws hard, nasty slider. I like him a lot. I think he could be the closer. He's another toss-up. He could either be off a team by like May or the closer by May. We'll see what happens. But I like Robles a lot. I like what he did last year, and I think it was a good move to bring him back and just see what happens, how it works out.
There you go. The relievers for the Boston Red Sox. It's a whole lot of toss-ups, a whole lot of guys you don't trust. Very few that you do. Isaac Aaron, what grade do you give the relievers?
I'm going to give the Red Sox bullpen as of right now. Obviously, in a month, hey, hopefully it's a lot better. But a solid C.
Man. I thought you were about to give them like a D or something.
Oh no, I can't go that far because again, we do have Whitlock. Barnes has been good in the past, and then the toss-ups. 2 of them are bound to work out. Have to work out.
Yeah,
so it's like
exactly.
I think we're gonna have some issues, but also some pleasant surprises. So we'll see what happens. But I'd say a C for right now.
There you go. So you got a C plus, ranging to a hopefully eventual B minus B rotation, and a C bullpen. Overall, not too stellar, but let's go to what the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see if the offensive side of the spectrum is going to give us Red Sox fans any more hope, right? So let's dive into it, taking it position by position, starting at the catcher position, Christian Vasquez.
Yeah, I think Christian Vasquez is a very solid catcher. I think Cora on a recent podcast, he did allude to the fact that he wasn't where they wanted him to be defensively last year, but he was still solid. I still think he could end up being very solid. That's all I want from him. I don't really need offense. Obviously I'll take the offense. I'll take a nice 800 OPS. But at the end of the day, if he could be solid behind the plate, work well with the pitchers, just keep everything under control back there, then I'll take that. Kevin Plawecki, love the guy. I think he's an awesome backup catcher to have. He works well with Nathan Eovaldi. He puts the ball in play when he's hitting. I love her. I'm fine with our catchers. Again, as long as the defensive part of it is fine, whatever comes as a plus, and I think we're going to be good catching wise.
Yep, because catchers are catchers, and their offensive numbers are typically pretty low. And for Vasquez, he's slashing 258, 308, 352, 75 OPS plus, which again, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It is the catcher position. So just like you said, as long as they're good defensively, then we're good to go.
Right.
Moving on over to the first base position, Bobby Dalbec.
So Bobby Dalbec is a guy I could totally see being traded at one point.
Man.
To a team like the Reds. I just see it in my head. I hope he doesn't get traded, but I just see it because Cassis is coming up. Tristan Cassis, our top prospect. At least one of our. I don't know if he's number 1. I think he might be number 1 right now, but he's definitely in the top 2. But he's a tall, big, left-handed hitter, and he's going to be the guy. So I think Dalbec, unless he learns how to play the outfield. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I really like him though. So I think to start off the season, he's obviously our first baseman. He mashed last year. I mean, there's not much more to it. He mashed at the end of the year. He was really, really struggling up until August, and then August came around. He just flipped the switch and turned into Barry Bonds Jr. He was amazing, and fun to watch. Hit a lot of home runs, and so I'm really happy with Bobby Dahlbeck at first, and I think that's going to be a good, it's a good option over there for sure.
Yeah, 25 bombs to be exact. Last year, the guy's 26 years old, slashing 240, 298, 494. So, not that bad slugging percentage. 105 OPS plus, so right around average, but you figure he's entering his prime. Let's hope he, starts digging deep, learning how to walk a little more, get that on base percentage up a little bit, because
Right.
298's a little
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, we'll see. Moving on over to the second base position, the prize acquisition of the offseason, your man, Trevor Story.
Yeah, Trevor Story. I think that man is going to be very good defensively and offensively.
Yes.
There's really not much to it. It's just that, yeah, he's going to be very good, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do for us. The money, we gave him a lot of money in the years, and I have high expectations, and I think he's going to come through.
He gets on base and he mashes. What else can
Exactly,
you want?
and he plays good defense. So
yeah.
Yep. Moving into the second base position, slashing 251, 329, 471, hitting 24 bombs last year, 103 OPS plus. I mean, you see him in a Red Sox jersey, and it seems like it was just meant to be.
Yeah, right.
So, excellent pickup there, really shoring up your infielders, and then we move on to the last two infielders, and this is really the dynamic duo of the Boston Red Sox. Starting out in third base, Rafael Devers.
Yeah, Rafael Devers. Again, really, this offense is just full of guys who can just mash, and that's what Rafael Devers can do. I think since 2018, I've been saying Rafael Devers is going to be the next like David Ortiz, Big Papi. He's going to take on that mantle. He's going to become that kind of a player.
Those are big words.
I think he is though, and he's showing that he's going to be a big on base guy and also hit absolute bombs and a lot of them. So. I'm looking forward to him. His defense has improved drastically, and it continues to. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Rafael Devers does this year, and have a lot of hopes for him.
Oh yeah, 24 years old, the highest OPS plus among your starters last year, slashing 279, 352, 538. My goodness, 890 OPS, 132 OPS plus, well above average. 38 bombs last year. I mean, man, the sky's the limit for this dude. He's already making it rank an all-star last year of all things. So you got to be happy with him in the hot corner.
So, absolutely.
Moving on over to the shortstop, another all-star from last year, Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, Xander is, his defense isn't necessarily that stellar, but his offense makes up for it. He's an incredible hitter. He's been in his entire career. And ever since really 2018, he has been really one of the better offensive shortstops in all of baseball. And I'm really happy to have him on this team. It's basically a contract year for him. So, we'll see what happens. He's really, I think this is a big year for him. Obviously, he's going to go all out and really do well and see what happens. And, we'll see how much money he gets next off season, and hopefully it's with us. So, he has a lot to play for, and, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this year.
Yep, it'll be mutually beneficial for him to go all out in his contract year. 28 years of age, slashing 295, 370, 493, 23 bombs last year, 127 OPS plus, the second highest on the Red Sox roster last year. Which, I mean, these two guys are well above average, and they're the foundation of your offense. So
yeah,
if they do as well as they did last year, it'll be good. And if they do any even better, it's a plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's move on into the outfield. Things get a little interesting at this point. Starting in left field with Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, Alex Verdugo is fun player, maybe the most fun on the Red
Yeah.
Sox. He's awesome. I love his personality. Dresses well. He's just cool. You know, everything
Yeah.
about him. And then he can hit and he can field. He's shown, he's just gradually improving on everything. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year. Yeah, I really love Verdugo, and I think he's going to be awesome as our left fielder.
Oh yeah, the guy is so hopefully entering his prime. He's 25 years of age, a 106 OPS plus. So it's about average, a few points above. But you learn that average. It's pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean, for sure. I mean, the guy still hit 13 bombs last year with a 426 slugging, 289 batting average, 351 on base percentage. They're solid numbers, no
Oh
matter
yeah.
which way you slice it. So,
Exactly.
and then we move on to the center fielder, a man who, although the Astros ended up coming up top, when we faced your team, I mean,
Yeah, he
after
was.
the first game, this man, I was already over this guy. When he is on, he is red hot, and he is just the envy of the world. I'm of course talking about Enrique, aka Kike Hernandez.
Yeah, that man. I love him. He's also fun. Great personality. Yeah, everything about that guy is awesome. And then obviously he can hit. He showed it last year during the regular season, and obviously, of course, most of all during the postseason. And he just couldn't stop mashing. And yeah, and he plays defense too. He plays great defense. Played a lot of second base last year, which obviously he
Yeah.
won't do anymore, really. But he was great in center. Has a great arm. Knows what he's doing out there. So yeah, Kike Hernandez, awesome to have in center field. Very reliable.
Yeah, that guy is a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully expect him to just continue to producing at a high level. Hit 20 bombs last year, 107 OPS plus, 786 OPS, just to put that into perspective. But yeah, I think he fits well in it. And I mean, forgive me, but did y'all pick him up at the trade deadline last year, or was
No, so we signed him before the season.
oh
Yeah,
okay,
to a 2-year deal.
to a 2-year deal? So it's the
Yeah.
final year.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
we'll yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, the guy's been around. He's the ultimate utility
Absolutely.
player. So if a guy ends up getting injured or goes on the IL, he can just slot in.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So, and now we move on to the final outfield position. I'm of course talking about right fielder. It was Hanno Renfro last year, but he's no longer on the team. So, I mean, you're gonna be looking at a guy like Jackie Bradley Jr. maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I think there's really so much to still figure out with this team, and I think Jackie Riley Jr. is definitely, obviously, he could be a little bit of a liability offensively, but you know what? Um, I think if he plays really, really, really solid defense, it's better than having JD Martinez out there, who I'll talk about next, and it's just it's basically the opposite. It's like JBJ doesn't necessarily have the best bat, but he amazing defense. JD doesn't have a great glove, but he has amazing offense. So, as of right now, I would say that's probably what right field situation will look like, at least some of the time.
There you go. I mean, Jackie Bradley, he's got it all. He's got a harness that what he brought in 2018.
Yes, exactly.
When again y'all faced the Astros, and
Yeah.
that time y'all came out on top, and Jackie Bradley was going Oppo Taco, and
Yeah.
I was like, he annoyed the crap out of me.
He had 3 hits the whole series, and they're all game-changing hits. So,
Mr. Clutch Factor. So It's sad because I know he's got it in him, and
Yeah.
we'll see. Anyway, we move on to the designated hitter, a man who us Astros fans like to call the one who got away. I'm
Yeah.
of course talking about JD Martinez.
JD, love the guy, awesome hitter, not a great fielder, but you know what? A plus for effort. But no, I think he's just gonna be a solid, great hitter in the middle of that order again, and he's gonna help out. You know, guys are on base, he's bringing them in. He's gonna hit a lot of home runs, and that's what he does. It's what he's been doing ever since he put on a Tigers uniform all the way to now. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do this year.
Yep, 28 bombs, slashing 286, 349, 518, 126 OPS plus, the third highest OPS plus on the team. 33 years of age. He's going down the path that Nelson Cruz has paved.
Yeah.
These guys that mash and the DH
but are a complete liability.
Exactly. Defensively with the glove, yeah.
Just be thankful that JD didn't have a Gafu like Nelson
that cost
Cruz
his team
did.
the World Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, yikes.
Cora's smarter than that. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't put it on the line. But, so a little more excitement when it comes to the position players.
Yeah.
Isaac, what grade would you give the position players ultimately?
A. Easy A.
Okay.
So it's a really drastic change from the pitching, and again, I think the pitching could have the potential to be solid B, but right now it has to be in the C's. But the offense, solid A. I mean, there's really no way of putting it. They have a great offense, and defensively, they're solid enough. I think they've gotten a lot better. They've improved a little bit over the offseason. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing this offense.
Isaac, how would you put this team in the pecking order of the AL East? I admire your respect for them defensively. I'm definitely I'm kind of old school in that respect. I really like seeing dudes who are solid at fielding and being able to take care of the ball out there. But in the grand scheme, if you look at the total package of this team and then comparatively to the rest of the AL East, where do you see them?
Oh man, I mean, right away, I'm gonna put them just on paper. I mean, you never ever know, but on paper, logically, okay, the boring take is Rays are the best, or either Rays or Blue Jays up top, Rays or Blue Jays second, Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles. But my heart says the Red Sox would be like second. I think the Red Sox are going to be around second place. Hey, maybe they'll win the AL East. I don't know. I mean, you never know. The Giants won 107 games last year and won their division over the Dodgers. I mean, nobody in the world predicted that. So you can't ever predict this stuff. But logically, Red Sox play in third. But my heart and my baseball brain, which says that anything can happen, probably says they're going to be second.
Yeah, second. Well,
so either way, I think there's a damn good chance we make the playoffs. But the Blue Jays are coming, the Rays are good, and the Yankees, are always there. So we'll see what happens.
It's a stacked division again this year.
Oh, it's crazy. It's only gotten better, and it was the best one last year. So yeah, we'll see.
A lot of y'all are going to be beating up on each other.
This
season. Getting those series wins is going to be
the Blue Jays offense is going to give me nightmares.
Seriously. Oh my gosh, that team, they're coming in like a freight train. Yeah. So Isaac, I mean, what is your ultimate prediction for how far the Red Sox will go this season?
Man, this is hard because I can't just be a homer. Oh, we're going to win the World Series because realistically,
respect.
I want to say that, but realistically, that's kind of the boring take. So I'll say we lose in the first round. I say we take kind of a step back this year, in a sense where maybe we'll win the division even, but I think we're going to lose in the first round. I don't necessarily think that. It's just kind of like my prediction. But
hey, keep the expectations low. You can't be disappointed.
Exactly. So I think we do make the playoffs, but lose in the first round.
There you go.
I think
And
we
when
win like 90 around the same games we did last year.
okay, so as
2,
you
1,
know,
2,
the
yeah.
playoff structure is a little different. So when
It
you
is.
say
There's one more
you,
team.
so when you say you make the first round, you're not saying you're gonna win the AL East, but you make the wild card and play a best of three.
I'm thinking the division series.
Okay,
We'll lose that. Yeah.
so if you're not gonna
We
say
would go past that.
you would go past the best of three, but then
Yes.
in the ALDS, that's your
Yes.
ceiling.
Yes.
All right, yeah. As much as the one game do or die is dramatic,
Hmm. I
uh,
think, well, here's the thing. We're going to get more of them because, we're going to get a lot of those best of threes going to the game 3. So I'm looking forward
yes.
to it.
Oh yeah.
And I think we'll see better qual. I'm just gonna have a
Yeah.
prediction. We'll see better quality baseball
For
with the
sure.
best of three out there because yeah, you have almost like a little mini series here
Yeah.
of these wild card
Absolutely. And by
teams,
the
and you see
second
okay,
game,
yeah, you see okay, hey, what do these guys have to bring to the table here in a few games? Do they
yeah.
have the rotation to be able to keep them in
And
it, possibly get them winning a series? How does their offense look from day to day? Yeah, I certainly like it.
I think, it's like by game 2, someone's going to be on the hot seat. One of the teams are going to be on the verge of ending their season, having their season ended. So, I always like best of 3. I think the ball doesn't bounce your way once, you should get another chance. Ball doesn't bounce your way again, it's not your year. So best of 3 is perfect for wild card.
Yeah, exactly. No more game 163s. No more one game do or die.
Mm.
Throw every pitcher and their cat and dog
Right.
out to pitch. Max Scherzer on short rest. All that. So, ALDS. It's still pretty darn good, but the Red Sox exceeded expectation last year, and all we can do is we can hope that they do so again this
Hmm.
year. Trade deadline comes around and they pull a rabbit out of a hat and do something crazy, right?
Yeah, that's the hope.
You never know. So,
Yeah.
Isaac, thank you so much for joining us and previewing the Red Sox. It's going to be a good year, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Best of luck to your Astros. Best of luck to your
Yeah.
Rangers.
All right.
I'm really, looking forward to the season. I cannot wait. And
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, there's a lot of, big stories about each of our teams.
Oh
Astros
yeah.
obviously losing Correa. How are they going to be like, with that replacement? And overall,
Yeah.
what are they going to look like? Verlander's coming back, and then the Rangers, Semien, Seager.
Seager, yeah.
They added some pitching, so it's going to be. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for this season
The
to see how it all plays out.
the pitching really kind of across the board, like starting and relief, is a lot. We're
Toss
like,
up.
hey, we're hoping there's going to be more upside to it,
Oh,
and
for
to
sure. There's
develop.
nobody. There's nothing that's like, oh, we're going to be solid pitching wise.
We're
But
really looking ahead to
yeah,
when Jack Leiter's ready to come up and become our
yeah,
ace at that point.
yeah.
So that's we're
But
looking.
I will say though, I really do hope the Rangers do well. So I think
Thank
because
you.
it's about time. It's about damn time
They
they're good
finally
again.
got serious. Like our front office decided, hey, we're gonna spend money. We're not gonna try and we're not gonna try and rehab guys and
Right. Now,
and
throwing money at your problems isn't always going to work, but
yeah,
I think Semien and that's a lot of money going toward 2 guys, their middle infield. But I think it's
Yeah.
gonna. I think they're very good players, and
yeah,
I think it should work out. But and then
Yeah.
obviously for my Red Sox, we just talked about it, and yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait for the season to start. Good luck to all of our
Uh,
teams. Yeah,
all right. Opening day just a few days away.
absolutely.
Yeah, it
go
should
ahead
be a
and tell our audience where yeah, for those who've tuned in here for the first time and are now familiar with you, Isaac, and your channel iTalk Studios. Tell them about what you do and just where they can find you.
Yeah, iTalk Studios on YouTube. I make videos on everything Major League Baseball, whether it's news or analysis or stories, whatever. And you can find anything on there. So I like to keep it a very diverse kind of topics. You never know what you're gonna get, and
Mhm.
yeah, I take great pride in that, knowing it's like just a ton of unique things that you don't really get anywhere else. So yeah, I talk studios, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You'll find me. Give me a follow and subscribe if you haven't yet. And yeah, thank you for watching and obviously supporting these 2 guys.
Thank you very much. And for those of y'all watching and listening, thank y'all so much for joining us for the special episode. Isaac Aaron previewing the Boston Red Sox. Go ahead and subscribe to No Doubter wherever you're listening to this episode. We're available on all major podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star review. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at No Doubter Pod. If you've been listening to us to a while, please consider joining our Patreon community so you can get an even greater level of access. Want to give a shout out to our patrons Tad Bostic and Patreon producer Don Hale. We got a merch store where we can give you, you can get access to anything, No Doubt related: mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, baseball shirts. Come on, y'all. Phone
Onesies
cases
for the kids.
Yeah, for the whole family. I got it for the whole family, and you can too. All in our partnership with TeePublic. All the links are in the description below if you're listening to this podcast episode. And Travis, take us home.
Friends, model your life after the Boston Red Sox. This absolutely stacked lineup that they have in everything you do in your daily life. Bat 400 and always swing for the fences. We love y'all. See y'all next time.